In this video, we are going inside the top 5 most powerful systems hidden on U.S. Expeditionary Sea bases, the systems most people never think about because they are not shiny missiles, dramatic explosions, or movie posters. They are the quiet machinery that turns a giant gray platform into a floating military base. Starting with an Expeditionary Sea base does not look like the star of the Navy. It does not have the celebrity status of an aircraft carrier. It does not look like a destroyer cutting through the water with missiles ready to go. It looks more like somebody took a port, a warehouse, a helicopter pad, a hotel, and a command post, then welded them together and said, "Fine, now make it float." And honestly, that is pretty close to the idea. The Navy describes expeditionary sea bases as ships designed around aviation facilities, berthing, equipment staging support, and command and control assets. They support missions like Special Operations Forces and airborne mine countermeasures. Military Sea Lift Command describes them as afloat-forward staging bases for mine countermeasures, special warfare, maritime security, counter-piracy, and humanitarian assistance. That sounds technical, but here is the simple version. This ship brings the base closer to the mission. That is what makes it powerful. Not one single weapon. The systems. A ship like this works because several hidden systems connect together. Take one away, and the whole floating base becomes less useful. Keep them together, and suddenly America can support helicopters, boats, crews, planners, equipment, and missions far from shore. So let's count down the 5 most powerful systems hidden on these sea bases. Number 5, the Mission Deck System. The Mission Deck is the floating garage. That may not sound dramatic, but in real military life, garages win wars more often than people admit. A mission deck gives crews room to stage equipment, vehicles, boats, containers, mine, countermeasure gear, unmanned systems, tools, spare parts, and whatever odd-looking hardware the mission requires that week. The important word is flexible. A normal ship is built around a specific job. A sea base is built around changing jobs. Today, it may support small boats. Tomorrow, it may stage mine, countermeasure, equipment. Another day, it may support aviation gear, containers, relief supplies, or special mission equipment. That reconfigurable space is powerful because real-world missions are messy. Nobody gets a perfect checklist from the ocean. The ocean does not care about your schedule, your plan, or your nice laminated binder. Gear breaks, weather changes, teams need different equipment. Commanders need options. The mission deck gives them options. Imagine trying to run a serious operation from a tiny closet. Now imagine having a large steel workyard at sea. That is the difference. On the mission deck, equipment can be inspected, tied down, moved, repaired, staged, and prepared. Crews can load boats. Teams can organize gear. Mechanics can get access to equipment without playing a circus act in a passageway. It is not glamorous. There is no heroic music for properly stowed container. But if that container holds the exact part, tool, or system needed to keep a mission moving, it becomes the most important box in the ocean. That is why the mission deck sits at number 5. It gives the sea base its muscle. Number 4, the aviation system. The aviation system is where the ship starts feeling like a floating airport. Expeditionary sea bases have large flight decks, multiple operating spots, and hangar support for rotary wing aircraft. Public Navy information describes a 4-spot flight deck and aviation facilities able to support helicopters. That means aircraft can launch, land, refuel, stage, and receive maintenance far from shore. For a civilian watching from a safe distance, helicopter operations look cool. The rotor turns, the deck crew moves, the aircraft lifts, and everyone thinks, wow, impressive. For the people on deck, it is controlled chaos with rules, signals, noise, fuel, heat, wind, and enough rotor wash to make your shirt question its life choices. Every landing matters. The ship is moving. The aircraft is moving. The sea is moving. The wind is changing. The deck crew has to know exactly where to stand and exactly when to move. Around helicopters, guessing is not bravery. It is a very quick way to create paperwork nobody wants. The aviation system changes range. A helicopter that would be limited by distance can use the sea base as a forward point. A mission that needed a closer landing area suddenly has one. Supplies, teams, equipment, and urgent support can move without returning all the way to land. That matters in places where land bases are far away, politically complicated, or simply unavailable. The flight deck is not just a place where helicopters land. It is a range extender. It is a time saver. It is a lifeline. And behind the flight deck is the hangar, where the less exciting but more honest work happens. Aircraft need inspections, repairs, parts, tools, and people who know what they are doing. Salt water tries to ruin everything. Heat wears people down. Vibration never takes a vacation. The aviation system works only because deck crews, maintainers, fuel crews, planners, and safety teams do their jobs again and again. That is why it is number 4. It moves the mission through the air. Number 3, the small boat and launch system. Not every mission needs a helicopter. Sometimes the work has to happen close to the waterline. That is where the small boat and launch system becomes powerful. Expeditionary sea bases can support small boats and equipment staging, including rigid hull inflatable boats and other mission craft, depending on the operation. These boats can move people and gear, support security, reach places larger ships cannot, and connect the sea base to the real world around it. Small boat work sounds simple if you have never done it. Put boat in water, drive boat, come back. Cute. Now add waves, darkness, wet gear, radios, engines, fuel, safety lines, weapons, helmets, heat, spray, and a ship that is also moving. Suddenly it is less like a boat ride and more like doing warehouse work during a car wash on a trampoline. The launch and recovery process is a system. People have to coordinate timing. Gear has to be loaded correctly. Weight matters. Weather matters. Communication matters. Recovery matters. After the mission, the boat and crew need fuel, repairs, food, water, and space to reset. That is what the sea base provides. A boat team without a nearby base is always fighting distance. A boat team with an expeditionary sea base nearby has a place to return, refit, and go again. This system is especially important because small boats can do things big ships cannot. They can operate closer to shore, they can inspect, they can patrol, they can support special teams, they can move quickly around a local area, they can respond in ways a giant ship never could. But small boats need support. That support is hidden in all the boring stuff. Fuel hoses, spare parts, radios, storage racks, cranes, deck handlers, maintenance teams, and people keeping track of what is broken, what is fixed, and what cannot be trusted until somebody looks at it again. That is the part most videos skip. The boat is exciting. The support system is what makes it possible. That is why number 3 is the small boat and launch system. It gives the sea base hands. Number 2, the command and control system. Now, we get to the nervous system. Command and control is not flashy from the outside. You do not stand on the pier and say, "Look at that beautiful data flow." But without it, a floating base becomes a floating crowd of people with radios and anxiety. The Navy describes ESBs as having command and control assets, and public shipbuilding information mentions enhanced command, control, communications, computers, and intelligence capabilities for mission planning and execution. That means the ship can help connect aircraft, boats, teams, commanders, other ships, and higher headquarters. In plain language, it helps everyone know what is happening. Where is the helicopter? Where is the boat? What is the weather doing? What is the timing window? Who needs fuel? Who is late? What changed? What is the backup plan? That is command and control. Hollywood makes it look like someone yelling into a headset while a giant screen flashes red. Real command work is often quieter, more detailed, and much more exhausting. It is maps, radios, chat systems, reports, status boards, weather updates, fuel states, maintenance information, and people trying to turn chaos into decisions. A secret mission does not fail only because of enemies. It can fail because one unit does not know where another unit is. It can fail because weather changed and the update arrived late. It can fail because fuel planning was wrong. It can fail because the backup plan was not clear. Command and control fights that. It gives the sea base awareness. This system is also what allows the ship to support different missions at different times. Mine countermeasures, maritime security, special operations support, humanitarian response, aviation support, and small boat operations all need coordination. The ship may look like steel, but this system makes it think, and the people running it carry a heavy load. They are not just watching screens. They are building the picture that everyone else depends on. If they miss something, the mistake can travel fast. That is pressure, not cinematic pressure, real pressure. The kind where coffee becomes a food group and the clock never stops being rude. That is why command and control is number 2. It gives the sea base a brain. Number 1, the human sustainment system. The most powerful hidden system is the one people ignore first. The human sustainment system. Birthing, food, water, medical support, laundry, sanitation, workspaces, watch schedules, rest, maintenance routines, morale, the tiny ordinary things that keep human beings functioning inside a steel platform surrounded by ocean. Without people, the flight deck is just painted steel. Without people, the mission deck is storage. Without people, the command center is furniture. Without people, the boat sits still. The ESB can provide berthing and workspaces for embarked forces and crew. That is not a small detail. That is the difference between a temporary visit and sustained operations. A civilian finishes a shift and drives home. A sailor finishes a shift and is still on the ship. The workplace is also the bedroom, cafeteria, neighborhood, gym, airport, garage, and sometimes the place where you realize you have been hearing the same machinery hum for so long that silence would feel suspicious. Living at sea is not normal. You sleep in tight spaces. You share bathrooms. You stand watch at odd hours. You eat when the schedule allows. You work around noise, heat, vibration, salt, and the emotional weirdness of knowing the nearest grocery store is not exactly around the corner. That human system is what keeps the entire sea base alive. Someone cooks, someone cleans, someone checks fire safety, someone fixes a pump, someone logs parts, someone stands watch, someone treats injuries, someone takes out trash, someone makes sure the people doing dangerous work have enough food, rest, and support to keep thinking clearly. That may sound basic. It is not. Fatigue breaks judgment. Bad food breaks morale. Poor maintenance breaks missions. Poor sanitation breaks health. Confusion breaks trust. A floating base that cannot sustain its people cannot sustain operations. This is the hidden system behind every other system. The ship can have the biggest deck and the fanciest communications, but if the humans are exhausted, hungry, sick, or unsupported, the mission suffers. Older Americans understand this in a practical way. Anyone who served, worked shifts, raised a family, ran a farm, drove trucks, worked factories, or kept a household alive knows the truth. Big jobs survive on small routines. Meals matter. Sleep matters. Clean spaces matter. Tools matter. People matter. That is why the human sustainment system is number one. It gives the sea base endurance. Now, here is the real trick. None of these systems works alone. The mission deck stages gear, but aviation and boats move it. Aviation extends reach, but command and control coordinates it. Small boats create access, but sustainment keeps crews able to operate. Command and control makes decisions possible, but the human system keeps the people awake enough to make them. This is why an expeditionary sea base is more than a large platform. It is an ecosystem. A floating base is powerful because every system feeds the next. If a helicopter launches, the mission deck may have staged its equipment. The command center tracks it. The sustainment system fed the crew. The hangar maintainers kept it ready. The weather team watched the window. The deck crew got it off the ship safely. If a small boat heads out, the mission deck helped load it. Command tracks it. Fuel supports it. Maintenance recovers it. The crew eats afterward and sleeps if the schedule has mercy, which it often does not. The big secret is connection. That is what makes these hidden systems powerful. Think of a small town. A town needs roads, a gas station, a clinic, a grocery store, a repair shop, a police station, power, water, and people who know where everything is. Now imagine putting that town on a ship, sending it across the ocean, and asking it to support helicopters, boats, special teams, mine countermeasure gear, and command operations. That is the ESB challenge. It is not just about being big. Big is easy. A parking lot is big. That does not make it a military base. The magic is making the space useful. Useful means connected. Useful means ready. Useful means flexible. Useful means sailors and crews can do real work without everything falling apart the moment the weather gets ugly. And weather always gets a vote. Most people never notice these systems because support work is invisible when it succeeds. If the helicopter launches safely, nobody talks about the tie-down checks. If the boat comes back, nobody praises the fuel log. If the mission stays coordinated, nobody celebrates the radio watch. If the crew keeps going, nobody makes a documentary about laundry. But remove any of those things, and suddenly everyone notices. That is the curse of good support systems. When they work, they disappear. When they fail, they become the whole story. An expeditionary sea base is built around that hidden work. It carries the systems that make other missions possible. And that is why it matters. There is one more reason these 5 systems matter. They reduce panic. That may sound strange, because military videos love loud engines and dramatic shots. But professionals know that panic is what happens when a team has no fuel plan, no repair plan, no communications plan, no rest plan, and no backup place to go when the first plan gets kicked in the teeth by reality. The sea base gives structure to chaos. A helicopter has a deck to return to. A boat crew has a place to recover. Equipment has a place to be staged. Commanders have a place to coordinate. Sailors have a place to eat, sleep, clean up, and get ready again. That is why the ship is so valuable. It does not just carry hardware. It carries confidence. Not fake confidence. Not chest-thumping nonsense. Real operational confidence built from fuel lines, maintenance logs, watch teams, radios, cooks, deck crews, and people who keep showing up even when the ocean is acting like it personally hates schedules. A system like that lets commanders take missions that would otherwise be too far, too unsupported, or too fragile. It gives them staying power. And staying power is one of the most underrated forms of military strength. The technology is impressive. The scale is impressive. The flexibility is impressive. But the human part is still the heart of the ship. Somebody is out there missing family so a mission can launch. Somebody is eating quickly before watch. Somebody is tightening bolts in heat. Somebody is checking a radio at 3 inches the morning. Somebody is cleaning a space nobody will ever mention. Somebody is cooking for people who may be too tired to say thank you. That is the real story inside these systems. Not just power, service, not just hidden equipment, hidden people doing necessary work. That is why these systems matter more than they look. A sea base is not powerful because every corner is dramatic. It is powerful because the boring parts are organized, protected, and ready. The deck, aircraft, boats, radios, bunks, food, tools, and people all support one purpose: keep the mission close enough to work. That is the difference between visiting the ocean and operating from it. One is travel. The other is power. And when all five work together, the ship stops being just a platform and becomes a promise. Aircraft can return, boats can reset, commanders can see, crews can recover, and the mission can keep breathing even when land is nowhere close enough to help. The top 5 most powerful systems hidden on U.S. Expeditionary sea bases are: Number 5, the Mission Deck System. Number 4, the Aviation System. Number 3, the Small Boat and Launch System. Number 2, the Command and Control System. Number 1, the Human Sustainment System. Together, they turn a massive gray platform into a floating base that can support missions far from shore. That is the secret. Not one dramatic weapon, a system of systems, and the people who keep it alive day after day, at sea without quitting once.